Hello again. This is the third installment of our screencast revolving around SLOs. I'm trying to make sure that we're as informed as possible as we can be as we go live this time. This one has to do with an ethical use of the SLO assessments. The calibration committee, department coordinators, and PLCs have spent a lot of time talking about the ethical use of the assessments because we want to make sure that we, as the language says there, ensure the integrity of the test administration process and resulting data. And security will be maintained through all stages of the assessment development, instructional delivery, and actual test administration. There are some examples that are prohibited about these SLO and SLO assessments, and there's a list of bulleted items that you can see right here. It's important that you take some time and you review those, because if you are in violation of these ethical use of the SLO assessments, then you are essentially in violation of our business rules. There are additionally some important narrative down here regarding those SLO assessments. For instance, pre and post-test items should not be reviewed with students. Of course, going over the answers with the students would only taint the data when you give them the same assessment in the spring. The feedback to students on both the pre and the post-test should be limited to an overall score and a letter grade, much like the OAA or an OGT test. If you're going to use a rubric, it's okay that the students see a generic rubric, one that you might use in PE, art, or English class. However, rubrics that are more specific in nature, something that essentially is a checklist and gives students exactly what they're supposed to do, spelling out the answer, those would not be permitted. This is a new item down here. It's pretty important. Any and all review that is done for the post-assessment should be agreed upon by the PLC and remain consistent between and among teachers. Furthermore, the PLC needs to submit their plan and materials for review to the SLO review committee for approval. We can't have one teacher in one room who's reviewing a certain way and another teacher in another room who's reviewing an entirely different way. That would really I guess it would ruin the results of that assessment, because the students have prepared for it in a much different manner. Also note down at the bottom that students with IEPs and 504 plans who require testing accommodations should receive all of those accommodations for both the pre and the post test. As noted before, our special ed teachers are going to be extremely busy, so it's important that we work with them closely to make sure that they're not double, triple booked, especially in a building as large as the high school. Thanks again, and I hope this helps.